Hello, I'm from Paris, France. I work at Ubisoft, so I'm a developer. And I'm going to talk with Thomas about how we are using Dagger at Ubisoft. So we'll talk about our experience and a lot of things. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Thomas Gillis. I'm a server developer at the Halifax studio for Ubisoft, and I'll be covering mostly how we use Dagger, or how I've been experimenting with Dagger to wrap our Unity projects and our Unity build pipeline.
So I have just a very few slides as an introduction, because most of it will be a demo and talk and things like that. So yeah, we already introduced ourselves, Vincent and Thomas. So just a bit of context to start. At Ubisoft, it's a big company. We have 19,000 employees, and we are using GitLab and Perforce. So Perforce is mostly used for everything game related, and GitLab for everything else. I wanted to check how many repository we have in GitLab, but I didn't at the time. But lots of them. So we're using GitLab CI for the moment for all our CI for that. And we have lots of other hosted software, as many company, Artifactory, Quay to store our container image, GitLab too for we're hosting some image repositories there too. And a few other components, security related, Vault. We are using JWT feature from GitLab to authenticate as part of the CI with different systems, such as Vault or with Artifactory, with something we call some kind of custom identity federation, we should call our own internal token gateway. So I'll talk more about that later. But the idea of sharing the context is that we have lots of internal components and that come into play when we are doing something in our CI. And that's where it's interesting for us to build on top of Dagger to abstract these things and make it easier for people to use. So we'll see that through the demo and so on. A bit of our Dagger journey. So it started like a year and a half ago. So on a new project, we said, okay, we're starting a new project. Let's try to start differently for the CI too. So let's try to do it with Dagger. So at that time, there was no module. It was only a big monolith. So we did that. We implemented everything from scratch. And we kind of extracted an internal Go library. So we wrote everything in Go because the project was in Go. And we extracted the interesting part of the Dagger pipeline as an internal Go library that we put on our GitLab instance. So other projects could reuse it. So I think we had 3 or 4 projects with our pipeline written in Go using Dagger, using that. And a few months later, we met someone, a smart guy named Solomon something. Maybe you heard of it, of him. Yeah. He told us, "Oh, that's cool what you're doing, but can't you like promote it? Have more project inside of Ubisoft use Dagger?" So yeah, it's difficult because we have to rewrite all the pipeline of the project. Sorry, to use Dagger, it's all or nothing. I say, yeah, I know. It's a big issue. That's why we are doing a big change and we are introducing modules. And this part is very interesting because it's going to allow us to replace only parts of the pipeline, of the existing pipeline. So that was very cool. But unfortunately, we kind of couldn't use it for a while because we wanted, our first try was to use that to interact with our own internal setup tools. And we couldn't really do that because we wanted to keep our module private. And it took a few months to get that feature into Dagger, private module, last month, or maybe 2 months ago. And that's when we started to have another closer look at module and to see what we can do with it. And we started in a few weeks to build what we call our own internal daggerverse, a set of Dagger modules that we can reuse for our own specific needs. So that's when I'm going to stop sharing that. and go back to that page. So on our GitLab instance, we have a Daggerverse group, and that's So I'm not sure if the name is good or not. Maybe we'll change it because it might confuse people between the upstream Daggerverse, like the open source one, and our own. But basically, it's just a group in GitLab with various projects, so it's easy for people to add new projects. And our goal here is not to build everything in-house, is to write abstraction that are specific to us, but on top of existing module. So, for example, if I have a look at the Artifactory one, it's something that's specific to our own use case because we have a specific way to authenticate to Artifactory when we are in a GitLab CI context. So in fact, if I check the Dagger.json, we see that we have a dependency on the Artifactory. On the upstream. Oh, nice, it's the first one. I heard that the best module are the first one. So it's this one. So we are reusing this one, and in fact, just building a layer on top of it.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
what we're doing is just basically, I'm going to switch to the code, it will be easier. So it's a Go module, and we have hard coding the host name and everything to make it easier for people to use. And when I'm going to configure, the interesting part we added is a way to retrieve the Artifactory credential from the GitLab GWT token. And to do that, we are using an internal endpoint that can convert that and do the translation. So that's where it's interesting for us because we can very easily replace something. So I have an example. That one. Like before Dagger, in the GitLab CI pipeline, people were doing that kind of things. So generating a payload as a JSON object, using curl to send it to the endpoint, using GQ to extract the API key, and then another curl request to upload the artifact on Artifactory. So it's something that is copy and pasted everywhere with different versions and things like that. And basically what we want is to translate that into a simple call to Dagger, where you can just say, okay, I want to use Artifactory module. I have a GitLab GWT coming from the environment variable, and I want to publish a file. That's the source, and that's the destination, and that's it. Nothing more. Very simple. And that's something we can do now. So previously it was very complex, but with thanks to the Dagger module and the fact that we can have our own Dagger module, which have some codes very specific to us to do the translation of the credential or things like that, we can do that.
That's so powerful, Vincent, that that one, you were able to, and thank you so much for the whole community. You upstreamed, you made public a lot of your modules for Artifactory and JFrog, CLI, GitLab, so other people can do this. But it's also really, really cool that you were able to take that upstream one and then customize it for your particular needs. It's an amazing pattern.
Yeah, it's something that could be easier, in fact, because we can't just return. So I'm going to do a bit of code, but what I'm doing here is that I'm creating like that field. The Artifactory is an upstream object from the other module, the open source one, and I can't just return it. Like I'm sure you are aware of that, but maybe some other people in the call are not. So when you write a Dagger module, you have a main object, and you can't return a main object from another module. So you can just say, okay, I'm going to build a wrapper that will construct the object from the other module and just return it and the user will be able to call a function on that other module. So I need to basically to re-implement all the function. So for example, publish go library. This one is a function from the upstream. Where is my daggerverse? Publish go library. It's a function from the upstream open source module. And if I want to expose it, I have to rewrite it and call the underlying one. So it's a bit of it's more visible here with publish file. Basically my custom module, like private module, doesn't add much. Just I have to expect I don't have, but if I want to expose the same interface, I have to re-implement the upstream one. So it's not a big deal. It's just that if the upstream like open source module has a lot of function, and I want to expose the same experience and function to my user with my private module, I have to re-implement all of them. So yeah. But I know that you're working on that.
We're working on some stuff to make that easier. Very cool. And then also for folks that don't know, this was implemented in Go, but because of the way that Dagger modules work, you could import this into a module, your pipeline module written in any language. So
yeah, totally.
Again, super cool.
Excellent point. Yeah, totally. I can reuse another module written in Python and extend it in Go. Exactly. One other interesting thing I wanted to highlight is how can we keep it up to date? Because if I leave it at that, like that, I either need to use the latest version of the module. So if I ever do some breaking change, it will break everything. Or ask user to put a very specific version, but I know that they will never upgrade the version. So what we are doing is that we are providing a Docker image. If you can see at the top, that one, the Docker image that comes with Dagger and the Docker CLI and a few other things, because connecting to private repository can be tricky. So initially the private repository stuff, maybe I need to speed up a bit because otherwise other people won't have time. So I won't go into details.
We're doing good.
We're doing it perfect. So I just want to highlight that we have a custom Docker image, and within that image, I can show you. I have where is it? I'm building it with Dagger, of course, and I have a set of version for all the modules we have, and I'm exposing environment variable for them, and these are non-version that works with the current version of Dagger we have, which is the latest one. But if I want to deploy but basically it's a way for us to package a set of modules with our Docker image. So people just have to use the version that comes with the image without knowing which one it is. Just trust us. And then we have another tool at Ubisoft, which is responsible. So I'm going to find an example, which is responsible for upgrading automatically the image. Yeah, that one. So it's similar to Dependabot, for example, and it's going to detect that I have an older version and just going to patch it and to create a merge request and everything. So thanks to that existing bot, we know that the Docker image will be automatically upgraded in all the repository. And with them, we can automatically update the version of the module that people are using. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's great.
I won't go much further because I want to leave space and time for the other people. Just quickly, so we have a few like utility module, like Artifactory, connect to our own like GitLab, Vault, and things like that. And we also have one, for example, to build a Go application so higher level kind of module, which has a lot of dependency on our own internal module, so Artifactory, on how to publish container image to our own registry, to have an easy way to write like a full pipeline in Dagger. So basically, we're trying to attack it from two different angles, to provide a way for people to replace like YAML and Bash snippet in their GitLab CI with Dagger call for a specific feature, or for people just to write a full pipeline with Dagger.
Nice. Do everything. This is great.
Thanks.
And thanks for showing off that the update feature too. I know Jeremy is always thinking a lot about like how do we keep things updated, and so that tip and how you have solved that, I think, is really helpful to kind of see how you're doing that in the wild. So thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of a simple solution, like very basic, but like for us, it's working. It's good enough for the moment. So maybe we can improve it later, but for the moment, it's good enough.
Well, and I think even with basic solutions, sometimes, especially when you're starting to get to know Dagger, it can be hard to just kind of even think through that. So seeing how all of you did it might feel simple to you, but especially for new beginners, that it's not as simple. So thanks for sharing that. Awesome.
You're welcome.
Yeah, bravo.
Thomas, do you want to take over with the slide, or do you want me to share the slide before the?
No, I can share the slide.
Okay, so I'll let you do it. I'm going to hand the mic to Thomas.
Sounds
For his
great.
part.
And one thing, there was one dot on your timeline that was missing, which was the that you guys hosted a whole entire Dagger meetup for us at KubeCon before you even got started with Dagger. So
Yeah, too. We did that. Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Vincent. Go for it, Thomas.
Hi, all. I'm Thomas. I'm going to show you today kind of how we've been playing with Dagger, experimenting with it to build our Unity games. We focus here in the Halifax studio mostly on mobile game development. So we use a tool called GameCI, which is a containerized version of Unity. It's open source. Feel free to check it out. But one of the reasons we use that is we use, from the mobile side, many different tools. We have GitLab, we have Jenkins, we have TeamCity, we're in Perforce, we're in Git. So using containers makes it a lot simpler for us running across multiple platforms. But we always come back to the one common issue that everyone runs into is like, I want to make a local build. Dagger handles a lot of this for us. It wraps for each platform, so we have a common code base across all of those, and then the developers are able to test locally. So I'm just going to show you some sample code here of what it looks like for a simple project. Oh, that's the wrong window. This window. Okay. So our Unity license, we have so many seats. So when we go to make a build, we got to grab our license Unity, perform our build, and then return the license to the pool. So when building on GitLab, I'm going to leverage GitLab's built-in Vault support because it's really simple. It's just a couple lines. But when I'm running locally, I don't necessarily have Vault installed on my machine. I can't trust that every dev on the project's going to have that set up right. So I'm able to, with Dagger, quite easily spin up a little Vault instance, connect remotely to our Vault address, and take our username, password, serial, and pass it into the same build function that is being used on the pipeline. So the only difference between how my local versus my remote builds are occurring is how I receive my passwords. Other than that, I have the identical flow as my pipeline. You can see here, we're just leveraging the GameCI bash scripts. We had to modify a couple of these to handle our particular licensing situation. But yeah, at the end, it pretty much just works. Like you can, with Go, it's super simple to pull your project version text file apart and get the version of Unity. And then with that version, you're able to grab the particular version of the editor you want. So it makes it super simple to upgrade build machines. All you need to do is commit the right version of your project, and the build machine will update automatically to use the proper version of Unity. And this is all wrapped Dagger, so like developers locally don't need to have the right version of Unity installed. They can just run this image and it'll download for you. Yeah, that's what we've been playing with for Unity. The other element we've been using Dagger for is I'm also part of the web server team. So I develop multiple backend tools for Kubernetes, different tool and REST integrations. So we have web UIs and multiple servers. Some of these communicate with each other. Some of them need to communicate with many other systems within the network. So I'm just going to show you quickly. For example, we have one of our services is built with Node, and I think it's some React library. I don't remember which particular React library we're using, but the backend's in Java. And we wanted a way for the developers to be able to test the different platforms and not wait for like a pipeline to finish building an image or having them create images locally. So what this does is we just grab the source, we build it inside of the images, and we return it as a service and bind it right there. And then the command is we just run up, and we can hit local on the host, and everything works as we would hope. It's pretty slick, and I'm hoping to expand it more to include some more of our services. So like we have multiple databases I'd like to try to mock locally and things of the sort. So I'm finding this incredibly helpful for testing some of our internal services and not waiting for different AWS instances to spin up or creating multiple runners in cloud platforms for this to work.